I'm going to be president of this country, whether you like it or not. And I will preside over the affairs of this country, including presiding over you. I think you must start adjusting to that reality. The sooner you do that, the less chest pains you'll have when that reality comes.
Julius Malema stands outside a courtroom and says something that stops the country in its tracks. He is not afraid of going to jail. But here's the real question. Why is this case happening now, and what does it mean for South African politics? This isn't just about a firearm or a court date. It's about power, accountability, and whether the law treats politicians differently. In the next few minutes, we're breaking down what happened, what the court is deciding, and why this moment could change Malema's political future. So stay with us. Welcome to Mzansi PoliScope, the place where South African politics is unpacked without the noise, the shouting, or the spin. If you value clear analysis, respectful debate, and stories explained in simple English, we invite you to be part of this growing community. Please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your voice helps shape the conversation. Let's rewind the tape for a moment, because every storm has a beginning. Julius Malema didn't wake up one morning and find himself standing outside the East London Regional Court by accident. This moment has been years in the making. The case dates back to 2018 during a high-energy political rally where Malema was filmed firing a firearm into the air. At the time, supporters cheered, cameras flashed, and the moment passed, or so it seemed. Fast forward several years later, and that single action has returned like an unpaid debt. Because, as the saying goes, time doesn't erase footprints, it only makes them harder to ignore. In October last year, Malema was convicted of unlawfully discharging a firearm. The conviction itself shook the political landscape, but now the country is holding its breath over one question: what sentence will the court impose? The state is pushing for prison time. The defense argues for a fine or a suspended sentence. Two sides, two futures, one courtroom. And here's the riddle. When politics walks into a courtroom, does justice lead or does power take the front seat? Stay with us, because the next part is where things really heat up. Outside the court, the atmosphere is thick, the kind you can almost cut with a knife. Supporters in red gather, voices rising, fists in the air, while inside, the law moves slowly, line by line, word by word. This is where slogans meet statutes and passion meets procedure. Julius Malema stands firm, shoulders squared, repeating a message he has carried for years. He will not retreat. To his followers, this is defiance. To his critics, it is provocation. But to the court, it is evidence, precedent, and consequence. The state wants prison time, not as a warning, but as a statement. The defense wants mercy, arguing that intention matters, that context matters, that not every loud moment deserves a heavy hand. And somewhere between those two positions lies the truth, walking a tightrope without a safety net. They say the wheels of justice turn slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine. And when they grind, they don't ask for applause. Here's the catch. When one man's actions become a national lesson, who is really being judged, the individual or the ideas he represents? Because once politics enters the courtroom, nobody leaves untouched. Not the accused, not the system, and certainly not the public watching from the sidelines.
Voice of black people, kill me now. If you want to kill me, coward. You are scared of a political debate. You use court to settle the political differences. I am not scared of prison, neither am I scared of death. When I joined the struggle, I knew three things might happen to me. They will either arrest me or they will either kill me. If they don't kill me, I will attain my freedom. We fight for the freedom we are not scared of death. We are not scared of prison. We are scared of poverty. We are scared of unemployment. We are scared of being landless. We are scared of living without our dignity as black people.
When Julius Malema speaks outside the courthouse, his words are not casual, they are calculated. Every sentence lands like a matchstick in dry grass. He tells his supporters he's not afraid of prison, not afraid of consequences, not afraid of standing alone. To some, this sounds like bravery. To others, it sounds like tempting fate. Because courage and recklessness often wear the same jacket, it's only later that we notice the difference. Malema frames the case as more than law. He paints it as a battle of ideas. He suggests that when powerful interests feel threatened, they reach for the rule book with one hand and the spotlight with the other. But here's the quiet tension beneath the noise. When a leader says no cell can silence his ideas, is that a promise or a challenge to the system itself? History has a habit of watching closely at moments like this, and as the saying goes, when you poke the hornet's nest, you shouldn't be surprised when it buzzes back. The courtroom may be cold and quiet, but outside, South African politics is a tempest. Flags wave, voices clash, and every word from Malema is weighed like gold or dynamite. He stands like a tree in a hurricane, roots deep in conviction, branches reaching for change. Some say he's a flame that lights the way. Others claim he's fire that could burn the house down. But when the law and politics collide, sparks are inevitable. Decisions made here ripple far beyond these walls, shaking parties, shaking public trust, shaking the very idea of who holds power. And when one man's courage walks into a courtroom full of rules and precedent, the question isn't just about him. It's about the wind that moves behind him, the storm that follows, and whether any cage can hold a storm once it's been unleashed. History loves to test the bold, and storms rarely ask permission before they roar. Malema's battle doesn't end at the courthouse steps. It spills into streets, minds, and hearts. Every chant from his supporters echoes like a drumbeat in the mountains, defiance, determination, and daring all rolled into one. They say a leopard never changes its spots, but a man's ideas can be sharper than steel. Malema knows this, that even if walls close in, ideas are the sparks that cannot be caged. The state may aim for punishment, but Malema frames it as a test. Who bends? Who breaks? Who stands tall when the tide rises? And when the powerful throw shadows to intimidate, the question lingers. Does fear chain a man, or does it reveal the depth of his roots? In politics, as in storms, those who roar the loudest often leave footprints no rain can wash away. The courtroom is more than four walls. It's a chessboard, and every move carries weight. One sentence could tip the scales, not just for Malema, but for the future of political opposition in South Africa. They say you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs, and in this case, the cost of leadership is laid bare. Supporters cheer, critics scoff, and the nation watches as law, power, and ambition collide. Malema stands like a mountain in the storm, but even mountains can be tested by a relentless wind. Will the court break him, bend him, or let him remain unmoved? And when the gavel falls, will it silence ideas, or will it ignite fires that no bars or walls could ever contain? Because sometimes the fiercest battles are not fought with fists, they are fought with conviction, courage, and unshakable belief. Malema's courtroom drama is more than a personal saga. It's a mirror reflecting the heart of South African politics. When one man dares to defy the expected, the ripples spread far and wide. Every headline, every tweet, every chant in the streets becomes a piece of a larger story. They say lightning never strikes the same place twice, but ideas can spark over and over, and Malema's words are electricity in a stormy sky. He challenges not just the system, but the very notion of who holds power, who gets to speak and who decides what is acceptable. And while some see a man confronting consequences, others see a test of courage, resilience, and principle. Because in this land, when the winds of justice blow, it's often the bold who stand firm and the timid who scatter. The question lingers, will this trial crush a voice, or will it amplify it beyond the courtroom walls?
Outside the court, the air hums with tension, a symphony of hope, defiance, and raw emotion. Supporters wave red flags, voices rise and fall like waves against a rocky shore, and every cheer feels like a drumbeat in the nation's heart. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, but sometimes a voice can be sharper than both. Malema has become more than a man. He is a symbol, a living riddle for the powerful. How do you contain someone who refuses to be tamed? Every chant, every fist raised, every song sung is a spark, and sparks can ignite fires that no courtroom walls can smother. In moments like this, it's clear. History doesn't just watch quietly. It leans in, it waits, and it remembers. And those who dare to stand tall in the storm, their footprints echo long after the winds have died down. Malema's story in this courtroom is far from over. Every day, every hearing, every statement adds another brushstroke to a portrait of courage, defiance, and controversy. They say a candle loses nothing by lighting another, and in this case, every supporter, every speech, every act of resilience only fuels the flame. The question now isn't just about a sentence or a fine, it's about legacy, conviction, and whether one man can stir the winds of change. Outside the court, the air hums with tension, a symphony of hope, defiance, and raw emotion. Supporters wave red flags, voices rise and fall like waves against a rocky shore, and every cheer feels like a drumbeat in the nation's heart. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, but sometimes a voice can be sharper than both. Malema has become more than a man. He is a symbol, a living riddle for the powerful. How do you contain someone who refuses to be tamed? Every chant, every fist raised, every song sung is a spark, and sparks can ignite fires that no courtroom walls can smother. In moments like this, it's clear. History doesn't just watch quietly. It leans in, it waits, and it remembers. And those who dare to stand tall in the storm, their footprints echo long after the winds have died down. Malema's story in this courtroom is far from over. Every day, every hearing, every statement adds another brushstroke to a portrait of courage, defiance, and controversy. They say a candle loses nothing by lighting another, and in this case, every supporter, every speech, every act of resilience only fuels the flame. The question now isn't just about a sentence or a fine, it's about legacy, conviction, and whether one man can stir the winds of change in a system that often resists it. As the gavel waits, the nation watches, and history takes notes. No jail, no court, no shadow of power can erase ideas that refuse to be silenced. In the end, this isn't just about Julius Malema. It's about courage, conviction, and the price of standing tall when the storm rages. They say fortune favors the bold, and whether you cheer him or question him, there's no denying the impact of a man who refuses to bow. The courtroom may hold him physically, but it cannot cage ideas, spirit, or determination. Every speech, every chant, every act of defiance sends ripples far beyond these walls. So, as South Africans watch, we're reminded that in politics, as in life, those who walk into storms often emerge with footprints no rain can wash away. If you found this breakdown insightful, we warmly invite you to like this video. It helps us know you value honest, clear analysis. Consider subscribing to Mzansi PoliScope to stay updated on South African politics, court cases, and stories that shape our nation. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive. We also want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments, respectfully of course, on whether you think Malema's stance is courage or controversy. Your voice is part of the conversation, and together we can unpack the stories that matter.